A century-and-a-half-old building in the heart of Rockford prepares for a multi-million-dollar makeover, but development depends on support in the form of public funds.
WIFR's Nathaniel Langley brings us an exclusive look inside the property and the deal for renovating the former watch factory.
This historic site, as well as the building, has a lot of history.
Oliver Emerson says he's done watching the former watch factory crumble.
It's going to be a great asset, a great place for people to live.
The Rockford Watch Company built this historic property in 1875 and at its peak produced 70 watches a day. But the buildings sat quiet since 2014.
When it comes to historic buildings and you're dealing with historic tax credit investors, it is a challenge.
Alongside his son, Emerson hopes to transform 325 South Madison Street into downtown's newest apartments.
The plan, 24 market rate apartments, 1 bedroom, 2 bedrooms. I think it's going to be 3 2-bedrooms.
Renovation estimates started around $7 million. 2 years later, that jumped to $11.5 million.
Certain things has changed. Lumber prices, just the cost of doing a construction deal.
About $2.7 million of the project's funding comes from the city of Rockford, which requires full council approval before handing the money over.
And with the support that we heard from the aldermen that did speak up was huge.
Depending on the city's passage, Emerson expects construction could start in the first quarter of 2026.
So we're excited about it. We believe it passed.
In Rockford, Nathaniel Langley, WIFR News.
The developer believes construction could last 18 months. The city's funding portion passed committee and will return for a council vote on January 20th.